Hi, mystery lover. It's Sarah here. Go get your coffee and come on back because we're going to talk about all things suspense. Welcome back. Give me a shout out in the comments if you know what suspense is from. I know there might be a few of you out there who are as retro nerdy as I am, who might know exactly what my intro was a nod to. So go ahead and let me know if you figured out suspense in the comments. All right. So for those of you who might be new here, I'm Sarah Wally. I'm a writer of mysteries. We'll get more onto my mysteries and what they're called later, but let's dive into small town suspense. What is it? How is it different than other things? Okay, so I can only tell you my story and my encounters with small town suspense. First off, when I started writing mysteries, my very first mystery, all I wanted to do was write it. I had no idea what was going to happen, if it was going to be good enough to publish, all of that stuff. I just wanted to write a mystery because I knew mysteries and they were fun. So I dove into writing my first mystery. I did all the pretty work. I did all the edits, all that kind of stuff, got it published, and my family bought it. Some strangers bought it, some friends bought it, some friends of friends bought it. And then here came the reviews. Okay. Beautiful cover, cozy mystery cover. You know, it had like a food element on the front and the background was small towny. It was a really cute cover. Okay. And we'll get into a video sometime later about my transition from small town cozy mystery to small town suspense covers in a later video. So we'll get onto that some other time. Anyhow, so I started getting these weird reviews that were very encouraging and very nice. They would still give me 5 stars and they would still tell me they really liked my characters. They really liked the story. However, the cover was giving them a different impression about what to expect from the mystery than the story actually gave them. And some of these reviewers would email me personally and explain that deeper to me, which was really sweet. I really appreciated it because I needed to know what it was my readers wanted and what it was I was telling them that I wasn't delivering. I want to be honest with my readers. If my cover has, if my cover has a raven displayed on the cover, I want there to be a raven in the book. Does that make sense? It's not just a background thing. It's a big thing. Anyway, I want my covers to sell what's actually in the story. It didn't want just, clickbait covers or whatever. So these comments came back to me saying things like, the story was way too intense for a cozy mystery, but it was good. I liked it. Another one would say something like, it started out like a cozy and then it got a whole lot heavier. Things like that were coming to me from reviewers and friends and people emailing me and letting me know what they thought of my mystery. So after feeling a little bit sad because I've disappointed people or, I've done the wrong thing, I did a lot of research. I actually talked to a lot of different writers and readers and asked them, what is it that makes this book not a cozy mystery? And I came back to a few responses. Again, it was the intensity of the chase scenes or the battle scenes. They were a little bit too edgy. Another thing was the subjects that I dealt with in my mystery were heavy subjects. They were subjects you would see in the real world. This is not comparing my work to the work I'm going to mention because the work I'm going to mention I love and I don't think I compare to it. But it's kind of like when It's a Wonderful Life came out and everybody was still struggling with the depression and still struggling with recovering and all that kind of stuff. Nobody wanted to see it because it was too reflective of life at the time and it made them sad instead of giving them hope, which it now, it gives generations now. It wasn't, I don't think, the movie's intention to make people sad. It was to give them encouragement, and yet it was too close to home. People didn't want to deal with issues that were too close to home. Those were some of the responses I was getting about my very first mystery. So I kind of worked with it a little bit. I decided to give it a little bit more time. I went on and wrote mystery number 2, which was a lot more what I thought cozy was. It had the small town feel. It had reoccurring characters. It had a plot that you could almost guess, but not quite. It had surprises and twists and turns. It had an animal in it. It had like a bed and breakfast, all these little elements in it that I thought made it way more cozy. And I thought, well, maybe if this really is what cozy is, or if this really what a mystery is, and people like this, maybe I'll go back and rewrite the first one in a way that would match the second. But still, even though friends and family and strangers were buying this book, my reviews were a little bit the same as the first one. Still, people were being really generous, giving 5-star reviews, which really helps a writer, by the way. If you know a writer or if you love books, go on Amazon and give that book you love a 5-star review, because it really helps. Anyway, back on the point. But I still got the same responses. Sometimes the mystery was too intense. It hit too close to home. The mystery was a little heavier than they expected. And here comes something I didn't expect to happen. The hero actually got too close, physically close to the villain. I did not expect that to be a swinging point, a pivot point for mystery into suspense. The mysteries that I watch on television, they're in the room with the killer when they're confronting them. Sometimes there's a physical fight. Sometimes there's just cops on the wall, but there's that kind of thing happening. So I just figured, mysteries, this is what you do. However, I was informed that cozy mysteries don't have, or shouldn't have, by these very kind-hearted readers, shouldn't have hand-to-hand combat, which that sounds huge, but it's not really that big in my books. Anyway, and that split it to another genre all itself. So again, I went back and did more research. I talked to authors, I talked to readers, and I learned that I'm in this weird category in between cozy mystery and thriller suspense. Okay, I'm in the amateur sleuth category, which means you've got somebody who's going to be like the JB Fletcher and they're going to go out there and solve the mystery. However, the baddie is a little more psychologically sinister than they would be in a cozy mystery. Enter small town suspense, which is the category that I am currently in. These books fit lovely there. There's just enough mystery there, the small town elements, the reoccurring characters, the funny jokes, the best friends, the background, little tiny background stories, small background stories about the main characters and their friends. Give it that small town feel, give it that cozy feel, but then the mysteries they dive into are a little heavier than the mysteries you would find in a cozy mystery. So like some of the mysteries that I've come across that fall in the same kind of genre as amateur sleuth and not quite so cozy would be in some of my mysteries. Some of my mysteries deal with things from, I don't want to give away anything. They deal with things that you would see on the news. Some of these issues, not really political issues. That's a whole different issue, a whole different genre over here. But they would deal with things you might see with the news. Sometimes in some of my books, there's a little bit of hinting at things like trafficking is in the background of a book, but it's not the main focus. But because it's there and mentioned, it takes it far from cozy and adds it over to almost like psychological, but not quite, because it's still in a small town with characters that you could feel and relate to being in a cozy mystery. So this is what small town suspense is. In my small town suspense series, which is the Christian series, the Honey Pot Mystery series, we are taking homeschool moms that are best friends and we're throwing them into these dramatized real life situations and having them thwart villains at the same time. Sometimes there's hand-to-hand fighting. Sometimes people get slapped. Sometimes people get kidnapped. All these kind of things happen, which take it out of the cozy element and add it into suspense. All right. So have you ever read a mystery that you would classify that you thought was going to be a cozy, but it turned out to be way more suspenseful than you thought? Let me know in the comments what books you read that you would classify as small town suspense. Not quite a cozy mystery, but not a psychological thriller. Somewhere in between for the amateur sleuths and all of us. Let me know. I love reading your suggestions in the comments, and I'd love to see what series maybe I've read that you've read or that maybe I should check out. All right, I'll talk to you later. Catch you next time.